Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but man's keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
The time is now.
This is the Fake Pregame Show with Dan Le Batard
Aren't sports supposed to be fun?
and Stugotz.
Whew, your call today. Your call.
Fake Pregame Show.
Let me tell you this. Ted Ginn is a
Retired football player.
Fake Pregame Show.
Ted Ginn.
I was jacked up when I saw that.
Hey, we need that thumb to go this direction.
Fail forward fast.
Fake Pregame Show.
Ted Ginn.
This is the Fake Pregame Show.
We drafted the Ginn family.
Kickoff is
35 hours.
away, but the Fake Pregame Show begins now.
Ted Ginn and his family will give us everything they have.
Fake Pregame Show.
Fail forward fast.
Knocking fools out, Stugotz. Knocking fools out.
Hey, we need that thumb to go this direction.
I was jacked up when I saw that.
I'd forgotten about Cam Cameron's fail forward fast. Remember, if you will, that Cam Cameron once sat out a preseason game coaching and allowed someone else to coach it in the event of an emergency. They needed to have a new head coach ready because something happened to him. He then went 1-15, failing forward, not quite fast enough. I have watched this December, Stugotz, ever since we decided to go to Las Vegas. Everybody on our show.
Yep.
And the failure has been forward so fast that it doesn't classify as learning. I know you think the Dolphins are going to win this weekend.
I do. Yep.
I am less confident of that, but I would say in that weather, how can anybody predict anything? Because it's going to be the third coldest game ever, wind chill. And I want to know from the audience, this is a sincere question, Juju put it up on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is your sports identity strong enough to sit in negative 30 wind chill for 5 hours? For 5 hours, because I don't believe Miami's is. Kansas City's might be, but if that game were here, there'd be 9 people there. If that game were in Miami.
Well, if that game was in Miami, it wouldn't be negative 30.
I think we'd have bigger issues
Yeah.
if that game was in Miami.
Climate change is coming.
I mean, how about this El Nino, huh? Just terrible out. I thought Mina had some nice predictive analysis last night, especially when the weather is that cold. You lean on the trenches and the run game, and the Miami Dolphins run the ball well, particularly outside, as she said, and the Chiefs struggle with that. The Chiefs' offense has been bad. And you know what? It's been like a national conversation that hasn't happened as we try to figure things out and all the blame shifts to these crappy wide receivers that Kansas City allegedly has. Bieniemy. No one's talking about that.
Nope.
Their offense, this is a guy that every hiring cycle, every coaching carousel, we were like, well, it's a punchline at this point. No one's going to talk to him. So he leaves. Nagy comes back. And their offense is shit compared to what it used to be. And no one is mentioning or invoking Eric Bieniemy. It's wild.
Stugotz, why were you making faces while Mike was talking?
Well, he's talking about the point that Mina made yesterday on the show. Tony and I made that same point 3 days ago on the show,
Well,
and no one said
He wasn't here. He doesn't listen to us.
no,
That's
I
the
made
issue.
it on
God Bless Football like 6 weeks ago.
No, wait a minute. The point that was made by you guys
That the
is
Chiefs struggle with the outside run. I'm sorry.
No.
We're talking about two separate points here. Go
What,
ahead,
the
Dan.
Bieniemy thing?
Yes.
Okay, well, listen.
Yes.
Mike, Stugotz, and Billy and Tony came up with the genius analysis that in 15-mile-per-hour winds and 30-degree wind chill, run the ball.
Yes.
Falsehoods. I asked Keyshawn Johnson about Eric Bieniemy at the barber shop.
That's a separate one.
Separate one.
These are two different things.
Yes.
The arguments that are being made here, Stugotz wants credit with Tony for the astute analysis of run the ball when you can't throw it.
Yeah, maybe Mina delivered it better. I was
but
doing Mostert.
It's
H-M,
sarcastically
Mostert,
astute.
Mostert, H-M, Mostert, H-M, Mostert, H-M,
Yeah,
Mostert,
but-
H-M.
Can I just give everybody credit and we can move on? I'm sorry if you had the take that Bieniemy is
Fair.
no longer there.
Fair.
I'm sorry.
Well, that was
I haven't-
Billy's. Yeah.
I haven't heard it nationally. That's why you're the Duke, and that's why you're top 6 in the nation. I appreciate that analysis. And if you said the Miami Dolphins will run it in Wild Card Weekend outside when the Chiefs struggle against that before Mina did yesterday,
In bad weather.
I apologize to you. Credit has now been issued.
Jessica, you were the only one in here nodding because I've got a bunch of Miamians in here that you would sit in -30 because let me read the numbers to you just so
I've
that you
done it.
understand. Well, no, I don't think you have because this is the third coldest football game ever played. And
When did you sit in -30?
I was at the coldest game in Notre Dame football history my junior year, and I believe the wind chill was under 0. I don't think it was -30, but it was close.
Under 0,
I
please.
think the actual temperature was 9.
Do you know the difference between 100 and 70 degrees? It's that, but cold.
the Chargers-Bengals game in 1982 is the coldest game ever played, colder than even the Ice Bowl.
At San Diego, huh?
-59. -59 on the wind chill.
Wow.
And the Ice Bowl in 1967, Cowboys-Packers, was -48. And I'm legitimately trying to figure out what in the world I love enough that if I have the option of not doing it or not loving that person,
Right.
that I would sit in that weather for 5 hours.
I have a little bit of an anecdote from last Christmas because there was a huge blizzard that hit Chicago, and this is after I'd been living in Miami for a year and a half, and I had a flight booked to Chicago to go see my family for Christmas, and as this blizzard hit and the temperature kept dropping lower and lower, I realized on Christmas Eve it would be -40 degrees with the wind chill in Chicago, and I called my dad on Christmas Eve, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to come home for Christmas this year. It's really cold out. And he was like, you're an idiot. Just get on the flight. Because that temperature does not faze people who live in it. It gets cold like that sometimes. And being in Miami completely warps your ability to withstand those temperatures, even if you grow up in it.
Jessica, I feel like -30, right? When you say those temperatures, right? When I hear -30, I'm thinking like Antarctica. I'm thinking about barely livable cold. Like you've got a problem if you're stranded somewhere and don't have the right stuff.
I once celebrated New Year's at an outdoor music festival in Quebec City. It was -17 out. I was in a light jacket and a tank top, and I swore the people behind me had stolen my scarf. It was in my pocket the entire time because I was super drunk.
Tony,
Just drunk, huh?
Tony,
Yeah.
you once tried out for FIU football as a walk-on, and
I was robbed.
with no actual football and threw imaginary passes. What do you
Damn good passes.
What do you imagine it's like to throw a football in 15-mile-per-hour winds?
Dan, have you ever tried to pick up a cinder block? Like, you know those cinder blocks that have like the 2 holes in them?
Yes.
That's like trying to throw a cinder block where the ball is so hard that there's no way that the air compresses it. So which is why Brady was probably like, hey, just kind of deflate it a little bit so I can get a little squeeze on it. But it's like basically trying to throw and catch a cinder block.
That's pretty good analysis, actually, given that
Thank
I
you.
don't.
Billy was rolling his eyes, of course, because he knows everything and I know nothing. Go ahead, Billy.
If you said that first, though,
He did.
credit to you.
I know. It's
Thank you.
just the
Had it first.
the qualifier of you once threw an imaginary football. You're a football expert. What is it like throwing in the cold?
I can throw a
It's
real
just-
football. I can throw a real football, Billy. We can do that.
I can throw an imaginary one just as far as anyone.
All right, let me get at this tension here, okay? Because it's been here since Tony got here, and I'll tell you where I saw it for the first time. I don't know if it
What
was
tension?
here. Well, I'll tell you the tension if you'd allow me. I'd appreciate it. Billy, you had and rained down judgment on Tony when he got here and put on Instagram him making a bunch of jumpers in the gym when we are the show that celebrates the missing of all the jumpers. It sort of runs contrary, showing athletic greatness to the internet because everyone's putting on their best selves on the internet isn't really what this show did. It's the first time that I saw you look at Tony in a way that suggested there was an undercurrent of disgust. And
Fair.
and, yeah, okay. So it's not a falsehood. Thank you.
Not a
because-
falsehood. It's fair.
Okay, but since then I've only seen that grow. It hasn't gotten smaller. You see it all the time. And Tony leans on you with, "Let's go throw a football. Watch me throw a football. I'll show you I can throw a cinder block. I'll show you."
I could probably.
Well, you missed this, Dan, the other day. Tony is like Chris on steroids in terms of like, I'm really good athlete.
What does Chris have to do with this?
No,
Leave
I'm
Chris
just
out
saying
of this,
because Chris
please.
used to be like, I'm really good at these things. I'm really good at bowling. I'm really good at softball, whatever.
Almost quite literally
Yes.
Chris on steroids.
Just
Yeah.
overconfident, Tony. That's all.
And then
Creatine, not
Tony
steroid, by the
takes it to like another level. Like the other day, we were walking around this office, and someone comes up to me and goes, "Did you hear what Lewis said about our flag football game yesterday?" And I was like, "No, I didn't. Why would I hear that? Where would I hear that?" Like, Lewis said that it looked like Tony was Tom Brady and Taylor was Wes Welker out there. And I was like, of course, because Lewis exists to blow smoke up Tony's ass. Like, this is the role here.
Billy.
Like, it's the greatest thing he's ever seen.
Billy, I was
Wes
at Tamiami
Welker
Park.
and Tom Brady at Tamiami Park.
I was at Tamiami Park, minutes from your house.
Can I tell you why, Dan,
Minutes
they were
from
at
your
Tamiami
house.
Park? Can I tell you why they were at Tamiami Park? Because Tony texted me and asked me.
Totally normal text.
Ask me if I could reach out to the FIU athletic department and ask them if they could open their intramural field so Tony and his friends could play flag football. And I was like,
That feels like a text you'd send.
Absolutely not. I am not going to do that. Why on earth would I ask the people I know within the athletic department to open their intramural fields so you and your friends can go play football when it's literally, if you like look at a map, it's literally next to a public park with ample field, ample grass, ample space for you guys to play, which is where you ended up playing.
The issue is that there's a lot of little kids playing baseball there, so it's tough to get a field because you
those
can't
kids,
really
yeah.
you can't reserve a
Yeah.
field when there's little
Right.
kids everywhere.
Can I
so
tell you why? It's because these games are meant for children or for great athletes who then make it a profession.
see, he doesn't get
You
it.
need no, you don't get
He
it.
doesn't get it.
When you reach the age that you're at, you need to realize you're not actually good at sports.
No,
And you go and
you're
you can
not
do it-
actually good at sports. There's a difference. I can go out and be good at sports and have fun, which is what I like to do for exercise.
But you're competing
if you
against,
can't fathom that,
you're competing against Danny's brother Johnny.
he was on
okay?
my team actually. I was throwing dimes to
Okay.
Danny.
Can Danny come in here so we can see the people respectfully
What?
that
Johnny,
Tony's competing
catch it
against?
astray, Johnny B.
Danny Dimes.
I'm just saying.
Chiefs Dolphins.
And that's not even that, Dan. This isn't even the greatest tension in this room today. Jess is pissed at Stugotz, not
What?
me. Just
what?
Stugotz.
What?
You know why.
I didn't do
All right,
anything.
hold on a second, Jessica. I'm going to get to that, but I need to construct the circumstances in which I punish Tony now. With
Punish me.
Well, with actual cold. I want to punish Tony with actual cold. No more fake green screens. No more Kansas City. By the end of this hour, at some point, I want you experiencing actual cold, and I also want, and I think this might need to be vetted by lawyers, I want Lewis to come on in here and actually blow smoke up Tony's ass since he exists.
Objection.
You should get that checked. Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor.
He would, Billy.
Can I do it?
Lewis said he's down.
Lewis, find some smoke and come in here
Careful with that
find some.
syringe.
I've got smoke.
What syringe?
before Tony gets put in a cold place, an actual cold place. I want to figure out how to do both those things. But Jess, why are you mad at Stugotz?
Well, if you listen to God Bless Football this morning, you already know why. And this is the reason. Stugotz came into work on Monday and said, how was your weekend, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, it was good. I saw Mike Golick, who was in town to call the Dolphins game. We, had breakfast with him. It was great. And Stugotz goes, oh, yeah, he said on God Bless Football that Christine Lisi's a better baker than you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't think he would say that. Turns out he didn't say that. Stugotz is trying to drive a wedge in between me and my co-host. No. And this was all just a fabrication by Stugotz. What Mike said was that Christine Lisi bakes different kinds of stuff. Like his example was she'll stuff a chocolate chip cookie with an Oreo, which is great. And
she does use gluten.
A classical baker.
I mean, they're both great bakers.
Stugotz just essentially made this up.
No, I did not.
To make, yes, you did.
I
trust Mike.
Listen, what Mike said,
he
said that Christine Lisi, I'm getting in trouble here for finally telling the truth. He said Christine Lisi takes more chances. That you will make a cupcake, you'll make the standard cupcake, she will make a cupcake and shove an Oreo cookie in it. To me, that's Mike saying she's the better baker.
Jessica,
Chiefs Dolphins.
Yeah, let me circle back for a second because Stugotz does this move a lot.
What happened?
This move that he does a lot because I fear something that happened with Stugotz recently can be found in here that has caused us some problems because he will make stuff up. This has been since the beginning with you. He doesn't like that you seem to be closer to Golick quickly than he is. And he doesn't like anyone. Oh, a truth hood.
I mean,
the
truth is the truth, Dan.
A rare truth. What would you know about the
You're
truth?
telling the truth.
What would you know
can't
about
handle the truth.
What you don't know how to deliver the truth.
Well, I did, and I got in trouble for it. Which is why I lie.
This is not the truth, okay?
For the record, I also don't care if she's a better baker than me. What I care about is that you lied and said that Mike, my friend, who told you this morning that he loves me like a daughter, I should add, said that, which he didn't say. You lied. And I have a witness, Jessie, our makeup artist. She heard it too. You lied.
But
made it up.
Here's the other story, though, because Stugotz, who wasn't here yesterday, texts me the story that I had forgotten about, which is he sends me the story of a clip in which he's talking about Jason Whitlock and Colin Cowherd. And Stugotz says, I was ahead of all of you guys by 7 years. He sends me the clip. And as I listened to the clip, I realized that everything in that clip is why Jason Whitlock is mad at me.
Really?
Everything in that clip. And I believe that clip is a lie, which that clip has Stugotz saying that Colin Cowherd has told him that he hates Jason Whitlock. And I believe Stugotz may have been lying about that as well.
I said Jason Whitlock was saying stuff about Colin Cowherd. That's a fine, by the way. And Roy Bellamy is a witness. He doesn't lie. Roy was right next to me when it happened.
But Stugotz, why would you get mad that I would think you were lying?
No
You're
idea.
always lying.
Also, like the whole center of your take there was how sad it would be to still be talking about ESPN after you left ESPN.
Let's get back to Chiefs Dolphins. A good segue to point a mirror to us on our hypocrisy.
I just try to tell Dan who his friends are, who his friends aren't. And I tried to tell him like 7 years ago, I'm going to do a top 5 list next week of people that Dan thinks are his friends but aren't his friends.
Do you know that if we let...
Where do you rank on that one?
Number 1 or 2.
If I let everyone in my life make that top 5 list, Stugotz would be on a lot of people's top 5s.
I love you, buddy.
He would be real high on a lot of people's top 5s.
Such a fucking liar.
Right?
Billy, you're no better.
Thank you.
Oh, the highest insult.
Whoa, what'd I do?
The highest
You know
of
exactly
insults.
what you're doing.
What can be predicted? Chris Cody has bailed on this game. He saw the temperatures. He was going to fly up with his friends. He said something about a tradition. He was going to buy tickets, and he canceled
went up to
all
Buffalo
of it.
last year.
Yeah,
That's not
that
gonna be this.
was like 35 and sunny.
Balmy.
60 degrees warmer.
But it was
That was
also
that was positive 35.
but it was also Skylar Thompson sort of.
I honestly would have gone. I'm just going to deflect. My friends are all cowards. Like, I couldn't find really anyone to go with. Mike Fuentes the other day was like send me like tickets are cheap and let's go. I was like, don't tease me. I'm down.
Well, the
no one wants to go.
tickets for the actual game are cheap, right?
Yeah.
Because Jessica's saying people in cold weather are used to cold weather. I'm like, not this cold weather. Like, this is like not used to this.
I agree with you. I looked up the temperature of the game I went to. It was 9 degrees at kickoff. So it probably got into the negatives with the wind chill, but it was not negative 30. I don't think I would do negative 30.
But what are the price of tickets? Because, Stugotz, what's happening in Kansas City? Mike mentioned Bieniemy. We're watching.
Billy mentioned Bieniemy 6 months ago.
Yeah. Keyshawn Barbershop.
At the barbershop. That's correct. But we just watched, or we're presently watching, the Golden State Warriors dominance era is sort of falling apart. And I won't say that's what's happening to Kansas City, but this is a Kansas City team that's headed into the playoffs being doubted more than just about any since the Mahomes era started. And plenty of people would think the Dolphins could win that game. The conditions, I really don't know, Stugotz, how you can accurately feel like you can predict what's going to happen in this game, given that as a variable. Because the Dolphin offense, because the reason the Dolphin offense is great is because the reason they can run the ball that way is because they always have the threat on first and second down that they might not run the ball
The pass
that way.
sets it up, yeah.
And they don't run that way on third down. They have more problems on third down because down and distance dictate the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't know how, with this many injuries and these circumstances, how I can have a good feeling about the Dolphins headed to Kansas City. But if I were to develop a good feeling, it would only be because Kansas City, the last, I'm going to say, 10 games or maybe since the beginning of the season. I mean, they lost the first game to Detroit and only scored 20 points. So
right.
you might be able to say all season, but certainly over the last few games, they haven't looked a lot different than Philadelphia, right? When you lose at home to the Raiders, when you lose to Denver, like this is a wildly beatable team that I think people think might turn it on in the playoffs because they have Mahomes, but they haven't been able to turn it on all season. And now the cold comes and you're throwing a cinder block.
Perennially hitting their team total unders all season long. There's only been one half of football where they kind of looked like the Chiefs of old, which was a second half at Las Vegas.
Right.
Where we all thought, okay, there they are. They've turned the corner. And then they dipped right back down.
Last time they scored 30 points was that game.
So, Stugotz, I ask you this because I don't know what you think declines look like, right? It takes a minute in football. Jerry Jones ran off Jimmy Johnson, and Barry Switzer still won for a couple of years. But then the decline happened. Kansas City was overwhelmingly better than everyone. The last, is it the last 8 division titles are there? And I think the last 5 AFC championship games have been played in this place. Now it's a wild card game.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody listening to this, and I don't think anybody nationally is saying, yeah, the Chiefs are going to absolutely win that game. What's the point spread in that game? Is it over?
It's gone up to 4.5.
Yep. Chiefs minus 4.5.
Has Patrick Mahomes even played a wild card game?
I'm not sure.
Definitely not on the road. I mean, I know they're at home. Has he ever played a road playoff game?
No.
That's crazy. He will this year. Well, hopefully not.
Well, they're the 3 seed.
Right.
So there's a chance.
You just took the Chiefs?
Shit.
He did just take the Chiefs. That's what just happened. He publicly, accidentally. Was
No,
that your subconscious talking in a way that you didn't know you were saying that out loud at a microphone?
Yeah. I mean, yes. I think I don't disagree with you, Dan. This is a coin flip game for me. But, the Dolphins, this is it for them. Like, we're going to Baltimore next. That's going to get pretty scary.
If you lost, I don't think even the most ardent of Dolphin fans would be surprised if you lost a 17-6 game or a 12-3 game. Can we say, and I don't know if I feel, comfortable saying anything in the way of predictions, but can we say that you probably don't expect it to be high scoring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Based off of the Chiefs' production and the elements.
You've got to think the Dolphins are going to get slowed, right? And you got to think
they are pretty fast, though. It's that cold that it'll look slow out there, and it'll look cold.
They've also gotten pretty healthy on offense. Like, outside of Connor Williams, they should be at full strength on offense.
Healthy in the sunshine.
at the turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go.
Beautiful throw to the inside. What an amazing save by Manny. Here's Zuleika again. Back to the inside.
He's got another.
Manny has another one in him. There's the save. Here's Zuleika.
That's crazy.
Third one. Catch by Zuleika. Splitter. Stopped by Manny. What tremendous play by Manny.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Goosebumps. Thank you, Manny and Jedin, for those people that were just listening to that with no context.
The key's under the mat.
It's funnier as video. You might be confused by it as audio. Jessica's head is in her hands. Tony is legitimately been sent to somewhere that is cold. We will get to that in a little bit.
The green screen bit again?
No, we're not doing the green. No, I demand that he actually be cold, and I demand that Lewis blow smoke up his butt.
Where are we on that?
I feel like it's just going to be another background.
No, I demand that it's not. I understand why it is that you would feel that, but I'm telling you that that's not what it's going to be. For one of the rare times around here, I am cracking down and I am insisting that Tony feel horrible cold for not really understanding that our show is not the show that's going to brag about its athletic achievements. That's not.
And if you are, you have to be fat.
Well, that's the one that. Well, I was going to say that's the one qualifier, but I was going to say or a woman because Jess has bragged about her athletic achievements, and it doesn't bother me as much as when Tony does it.
I'll kick Tony's ass, by the way.
When Tony does it, it's really defensive. It's a bit angry.
Well, Tony's still in the phase of his life where he's thinking to himself almost on a daily basis, if I just took a year to work out, I could still make one of the big leagues.
Well, this is what Billy is saying, though. What Billy is saying is there has to be an age where you simply give up on the dream in all of its forms. And Tony's saying, I have given up on the dream. I just like to practice sports excellence when I exercise. That's how I get my exercise. I exercise at being excellent. It's an easier way to do it than just jogging on a treadmill.
Grow up, Peter Pan. Like, you're an adult now. It's not going to happen. You're not Kurt Warner.
We will get to that in a moment, but Stugotz, I don't know if you're watching. It's got to be a pretty great feeling on one side and a pretty dreadful feeling on the other to have a goal scored with 0.7 of a second left in overtime.
That's got to hurt.
They're going to have trouble paying Reinhardt, Mike, and you're already doing the finances on all of that. The Panthers have won 9 in a row.
But you're just saying to yourself, 0.7 seconds. If I could have just done this.
I mean,
too much time for Sam Reinhart.
We should play a game in which we see what Chris Cody can't do in 0.7 of a second to see.
I don't actually think. I still think that there's 0.7 of a second left on the clock. I don't think that they actually came back and dropped the puck at center ice. There was once Goldie said, "Let's go home, baby." Like they all literally did. Sam Reinhart, I think the most the Panthers, maybe Zito can finesse it a little bit. I think the most they can offer him is $8 million. I think Sam Reinhart can get 11.5 there, but with the state tax situation as it is and the hockey market, some of them being in Canada and you get taxed a high hell over there, this is an attractive place. Players want to win here. Sam Reinhart is fulfilled the promise. He entered the league as a really promising prospect, and he kind of struggled out the gates, and he's really finding his form now. They believe that they have a shot to make this happen, and if it were almost in any other state, maybe not. But Sam Reinhart, if he's going to stay in Florida, has to give Florida a hefty discount.
Trade Ekblad. Can that free up some money?
He's got a no trade. So
shit,
it's difficult. Barkov has a no trade. Not that you want to trade Barkov. I think he's been exceptional this year and deserves a lot of the credit for Sam Reinhart's heart campaign here. But Ekblad, he's been hurt. Ekblad's been on the Panthers, and he's not that old. Isn't Ekblad like 29?
Yeah.
Ekblad's been down here for 20 years, it feels like. But I think he has a no trade.
If I would have told you 3 weeks ago, all right, in 3 weeks, either these two things will have happened. The Panthers will have won 9 in a row, or Belichick and Saban won't be coaching their teams anymore. Which would you have predicted?
After that Blues loss, there was no way that you could have forecasted this Panther run. Let me tell you, the LA Kings are exceptional on the road. This isn't just like your standard 9-game win streak. They're 9 on the trot against the Vegas Golden Knights, two of those 9 wins have been at home and on the road against the Vegas Golden Knights. They've been dominating these games, leading most of them at the Colorado Avalanche, with McKinnon having the season that he's had at St. Louis, and then only one day off of a long road trip to come back home against one of the tougher teams, a team that I just put a futures bet on being Stanley Cup champion in the LA Kings. Respect the hell out of them, and they won that game. They are on absolute fire right now. They have never played better as a franchise.
But, Mike, you want Sam to give a hometown discount. He's having the best season he's ever had. This is a career year for him.
Sam, I would love for Sam to give the Florida Panthers a discount.
We're going to lose them.
We're talking about a pretty hefty discount here.
Every fan base thinks their athlete is going to give their team a hometown discount.
I mean, thank God they have Chucky locked in the way that he is, because if Chucky hit the open market, he'd make a lot more money right now. And Matthew Tkachuk, by the way, is all the way back, doing the Tkachuk things, having that late equalizer goal by getting a deflection right in front of the net. He is all the way back.
You mentioned Chucky, and I want to ask the group a question, because I can't believe I'm asking this question. Is John Gruden going to be back in football soon?
What is there? Are there groomers?
There were rumors that he was going to join the Saints to help, like a Derek
Dennis
Carr.
Allen. To help Dennis Allen, who the players very clearly don't respect.
Or listen to.
Yeah, surely players would have nothing but respect for John Gruden, given his recent controversies.
I can't imagine that happening.
Yeah.
I just can't.
One last thing on the Florida Panthers. I do want to get into the John Gruden stuff, but last night was 90s night, and Montel Jordan sang the national anthem, but that wasn't all.
Can you fill me in?
Montel Jordan also played the first period intermission, and he did This Is How We Do It, but he reworked the lyrics to make it Panthers specific. And the party wasn't out here on the west side. It was out here in Sunrise. And he was talking about the Panthers and the playoffs and Broward County. Goldie had a hard time following this act. It was unbelievable.
You loved it?
Yeah.
It made you nostalgic?
It was a Thursday night, but he still felt all right.
Is there a sadness in getting booked for a 90s night for him, you think? Where it's like, I'm only getting booked because of something.
It's work, man. It's
Right.
work.
Can I send myself to the penalty box? Because Craig David saying, can you fill me in? Not Montel Jordan.
None of us caught that, though. I assumed that you were making.
Should have to go wherever Tony is.
Nope, he's safe.
Yeah, you should
go up to where Tony
blow
is.
smoke up Tony.
lucky you.
with
This is your lucky
Lewis.
day.
I mean, you volunteered at all? What? You know how it works
Said the
around
penalty
here.
Volunteered the penalty box.
Well, but that's not what we're doing today. Is Tony ready? Has he arrived wherever it is that he needs to arrive? Because Lewis has followed him out there, and I want to see what the blowing of smoke.
He's arrived, but we took a hit on our internet, so it's going to be next segment.
Billy, can you explain to me, because you're complaining about this relationship between Tony and Lewis? They are around each other all the time. Like they're at each
They're
other's
friends.
Yes, they're at each other's hip all the time. And I think they're friends the way that nobody here is friends.
Well, I don't have any friends, so that's kind of why I don't seem to understand how the dynamic works.
Am I wrong when I say they are closer than any two people here are?
Well, they grew up together.
I mean,
They
me and
didn't.
you, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they knew each other until like 2021. I think Tony knew like Lewis's brother or something.
That's very different. They grew up together and they met in 2021 is very different.
Lewis knew Tony's brother, and they went to like the same church or something, and then he convinced him to go to Tahoe for free a couple of times and got him a job, and then they become thick as thieves, as they say.
One is a lifelong friendship. The other is a cup of coffee. I mean,
that's correct.
You guys need to learn your Tony and Lewis lore. Come on.
Yeah.
We will go.
They definitely have known each other a lot. I mean, maybe like, what's the definite, like, when did they become best friends? Like, I think recently, but they've known each other a long time.
We don't know if that's true. We will find out whether those are true.
It's hugely important to me.
Lewis also filled in and said, "Best friends is a lot."
I've known Dan a long time, but I don't
You've
think
known
he's
Dan
me.
is longer than Lewis has known Tony. It seems
probably true.
I guess you guys are the two closest ones here.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Cronin was trending last night. Did you see why, Stugotz?
No.
Do you have any idea what's going on with the Damian Lillard-less Portland Trailblazers?
I know they blew someone out last night, the Celtics, right? I'm sorry, the Trailblazers. I thought you were talking about the Bucks.
What are you doing? So you don't have any idea?
I was looking up Joe Cronin. That's what I was doing.
Okay, so Joe Cronin is the Portland Trailblazers GM, who, again, if you'd been listening instead of looking it up, runs the Damian Lillard-less Portland Trailblazers, who lost by 60 last night to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and are now 10-26 or 10-27, while the Heat's young players continue to play well. Joe Cronin, again, came up through the organization and became, not unlike Eric Spoelstra, Stugotz, came up through the organization to get to a power position. And that story's not going to end quite the way the Spoelstra one did. As soon as he came into power, those superstars, they're hard to get. And when you get them, you cannot trade them for a bunch of injured players. And
All the bad faith analysts that were touting the package that they got, I've checked on social media. They're still not going to admit they're wrong on this. So, okay, fine. Joe Cronin, you played yourself.
They are silent on this. I told you at the time that the Heat thought that if healthy, the package that they got was better than what the Heat were offering. I still don't know what the Heat offer is. I still haven't gotten an accurate appraisal from anybody that I believe on what the Heat offer is. But clearly they were holding back some of those young pieces. Like they weren't going to offer those, and it didn't matter at all because Portland wasn't taking the calls at all. I suspect there might be already a touch of regret about not taking some of those calls. right before these microphones came on. You guys didn't see what Stugotz was saying or what he was doing, but I'm going to tell the audio audience and do it visually for video. Okay, this is what he was doing when I looked over and asked him what. Because he was doing this. He's like, just you got to look at, he's grabbing his belly with both hands, okay, and he's going, and he's like, Dan, Belichick. Mystery team. Mystery team.
I love
Belichick.
a good mystery team. I do.
That is what Stugotz was all delighted. What are you raising your hand about, Mike?
I have a theory on the mystery team. I have a theory.
The New York Post is reporting there's a mystery team that's in play for Bill Belichick.
Schefter also echoed this yesterday on ESPN. So, mystery team is a team that has not yet fired its coach. Wow. So, we can safely presume, I think, playoff team. Otherwise, why haven't they fired their coach just yet? So, out of the playoff teams, everybody's mind goes to Dallas Cowboys, surely. That's the move that Jerry Jones would do, even though he was uncomfortable with the tuna thing. The clock's kind of ticking. Oh, no, old Jerry. Get another title. Bring in the best coach ever. I can understand why, and that's certainly leader in the clubhouse. But what if it's not the Cowboys? Wow. Then who is it?
Dolphins.
Hey.
Here's my theory. Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow. I asked Keyshawn about that.
What?
You did?
No.
Why are you doing that? Because Schefter said recently that Sirianni is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An air of mystery around it, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
I think things have fallen apart over there in Philadelphia, and they're also breaking down at the wrong time. If they suffer an embarrassing loss to Tampa, they could say he's safe all the way. In my mind, that's a dreaded vote of confidence, Dan. Sirianni seems like he's out of moves right now, and maybe they maximize on what they could do over there. I would not discount the chances of Bill Belichick, and that's just me theorizing.
He has one move left, Sirianni. Winning. That's it.
I got another fun one. Buffalo.
I like Buffalo. That is a fun one.
Don't you think Bill Belichick would want to get out and see the world and finally leave this division?
I think he wants to stick it to him.
Yeah.
Buffalo was also my first guys. I do like the Cowboys thing, though, just because I feel like I'm doing a little Bill Parcells thing there, you know? And also the sports media, snake eating its tail takes if now Belichick wins one without Tom Brady would be so funny that I am now rooting for that.
What if he goes to Tampa?
Tries to win one with Baker.
The mystery team is the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Stugotz has a top 5 list of coaches in college football who are just waiting around to see how all of the dominoes fall. We'll get to that in a second. But and this is pretty common around here as the founder of Meadowlark Media, I tend to get about half of what I actually want. Maybe less. And so, unfortunately, because Jimmy Kimmel's lawyers have stepped in, I cannot have Lewis actually blowing smoke up Tony's ass. I can, however, go out to actual cold where Tony has to serve the punishment of being an actual cold. And I'm told we're ready for that. And he's shirtless and he's outside and it's 79 degrees. And that doesn't look like actual cold. Where's the actual cold, Tony?
Well, the actual cold is right here, Dan. If you actually can pan down a little bit, you can see that we have somehow procured a cold plunge. And Mike Fuentes is here. He's going to show you all the ice that went into said cold plunge, about 6 10-pound bags of ice, which by my math is 60 pounds of ice in this tub. I'm not 100% that I fit in this actual tub because it looks pretty small and not that deep.
Is this
but,
child
the
size?
water's cold. It feels like it's child size. It's about to my thigh, so I don't know how far I'm going to have to crouch down in here. I was listening to you earlier. Billy's a dork, and I'm ready, Dan.
Okay, so
right.
is it ice and water or just ice? Is it cold plunge?
No, it's ice and water. It's ice and water. It's obviously we have to fill it and then put the ice in.
Okay, so you're ready.
The ice has melted, but the water's cold.
Tony, you look great, but last night, pasta night? I mean, what?
Oh, no.
Hey, packed on a pound or two. I mean, just saying, yeah.
Whoa.
No, it was. No, it was.
Body shaming. What are you doing? Objectifying him like
Might want to work on the core, Tone. I mean.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Are you worried there's
I
going to
can
be an
hear
urn
Billy-
situation?
I can hear Billy telling that to Stugotz in his ear already, so you can just keep it moving.
Also,
loser.
That is the
Come out here and take your shirt off.
That is
Howard.
Take your shirt off.
Come over here and do it. I'm ready, Dano.
That is one of the greatest threats I've ever heard. And by the way, the back row got scared of it. The back row didn't know where it was.
Stugotz said it.
What?
Come out here and take your shirt off, coward, is one of the weakest and greatest threats I have ever heard. All right, get in there, Tony. Get in there, and you're going to give your top 5 football observations while in the cold tub. All right, go ahead. These are always unpleasant. These cold tubs stink.
Not the observations.
Well,
gotta set the mic stand up here.
Fuentes will do anything to get on air.
It'd be horrible if that thing fell in the water and electrocuted him.
We're safe, right? If that happens,
I don't think so.
Probably pull that thing.
The lawyers
it'd be horrible.
The lawyers were too busy vetting whether we could blow smoke up someone's ass against their will.
Oh my God!
Oh, this is bad. Yeah.
I don't fit, so we'll start there. I don't fit.
You got to get the nips
water
in,
is going
Tony.
I can't go any further.
How cold? How's it feel?
It's really cold and there's water everywhere.
Let's try to go
Watch out with my
shoulders.
stuff over there,
Let's
by
try
the
to go
way.
shoulder deep here.
Hold on,
guys. I can't
Yeah,
get any
you put
further.
your knees in front of you, like sit.
No,
like
but this
squat
is
down.
My knees are.
Tony, I understand, but
Go ahead.
what
Make a cannonball.
what I need you to do, this is all I need you to do, okay? I need you to bend forward.
Oh, thank you.
Bend forward so that your nipples are actually touching the water.
Wait,
because
don't we want to see his nipples?
No,
Yeah, no,
censor those.
yes.
I want him to
Blur
get.
those out.
I want him to get cold, and then I need to see him again. So go
Is
down.
there any
Yes.
way to zoom in on the nipples?
Hold on, I'm gonna give my phone to Mike so I can do that. Hold on, give me a
Oh,
second.
yeah.
A little
The
closer.
thing is, guys,
Those
this
can
right
cut
here,
glass right there.
this is like rubber, like very like I don't even, my bad, I can't talk right now.
It looks like we're
It's
recreating the
inflatable.
vase bit.
So it's not too sturdy.
Get those nipples in there. Come on. There we go.
There we go.
That's
those
a shot.
things.
Now up
I'm in
and down,
full-
like
I'm
a
in
coaching
full
carousel.
Sumo right now.
We woke those things up.
do you want to do the coaching carousel with him?
There's a lot going on.
Wake
here.
up call.
I was good.
OLI, or are we starting with number 5, Tony?
Starting with number 5, guys, I've already spoken to my sources, and when you talked about Bill Belichick and the mystery team, that's all just smoke that Lewis is blowing up my ass. We'll start with number 5. Let me see if I can get a little lower here without the water falling out.
I'm not sure how cold that actually is.
Yeah.
It looks like there's not a lot of
Dan,
ice
how
in
about
there.
you come over here, take your shirt off,
just
and
saw
get in this
empty
with me.
bags
Well,
of
we couldn't
ice.
fit, but
It says it's -0.
it's -0. That's cold. All right, number 5. Belichick, Kirk Cousins, Atlanta, collision course.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Where'd that
Ooh,
come
and
Where's
from?
that hand going? What are you doing with that hand right now, dude?
Sounds like
Buddy,
the mic
there's
got
nothing
wet.
to be done. Trust me.
And this one did too.
What's going on down there?
All right, I'm trying to see if I can get a shoulder down. Oh my God. Okay,
I'm again
number
not.
4.
Is your hand trembling? It seems like your hand is trembling a little bit. Number 4.
Yeah, it's the water is freezing. 4. Here we go. Mike's gonna help me there. There we go. Attaboy. Thank you. Number 4. Joe Flacco, keeping an eye on Baltimore. The revenge game is loading. Now the shower's dripping on me too. The shower's cold too.
I don't understand what that observation was.
Weird with his left hand
Can
down.
you-
Joe Flacco is keeping an eye on Baltimore. That's
Right.
what he's doing right now, because if they beat the Texans and all the other teams that are the lower seeds lose, Joe Flacco would be heading to Baltimore with the Browns, formerly the Baltimore team. Like, a lot of stuff to be done there. So Joe Flacco's just keeping an eye on Baltimore right
So
now.
he's looking ahead. He should have his eye on the Texans right now.
Well, but his point.
One eye on the Texans, one
Got
eye
it.
on Baltimore.
His point is that it is possible that the Ravens have to face a team they already lost to back when Cleveland didn't even have Joe Flacco, right? Cleveland beat
Bingo.
Baltimore. That defense can beat anybody. What's number 3?
Number 3. I'm going to see if I can get both hands in here, guys. Mike's going to be holding.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
This is getting.
Wow.
Okay, Mike's going to be holding the phone for me. All right, number 3. Dano, the poetic justice of Matthew Stafford breaking the Lions after they broke his body for 12 years is chef's kiss.
Yeah, that would be a good story.
It's
I'm
beautiful.
I'm expecting that. Should I be? Which way do you guys think that game is going to go? Like I'm expecting the Rams to surprise the Lions. Am I lonely here, or is the rest of the group?
I don't
with
think
me?
you're alone. I like the Rams as well. I think most people are expecting the Rams to beat the Lions. I do.
Well, they're not
I think
favored.
with Kieran Williams, with
Kyron.
Matthew Stafford, with Puka Nacua, and with Cooper Kupp, Kyron, my bad. They're like 6-2, and they average like almost 500 yards a game of offense.
It makes a pretty giant difference, right? We saw a Super Bowl with them that they got held to 3 points when they didn't have Gurley. Williams makes an enormous difference, and so does obviously Cooper Kupp. Number two,
Dano, I hate to say it as the Eagles evangelist of the show and ticket holder for their Super Bowl odds, but the Eagles are on upset alert. Baker had if you look at Google a picture of Baker at practice, you would see in his sweatpants, he's got a packet of Zins just waiting because he's got a little dip in during practice. The vibes are up in Tampa. Watch out for an Eagles upset. Tampa's just on one right now.
Oh, wow. He threw the video from the ice tub awkwardly, I would say.
Take a look.
The ice.
Take a look.
No,
I didn't know if we had the picture.
Yes, he's got a 10. Yes, I think.
Is that a 10 in his pocket? Or?
Little Zinnies in for the boys. Little Zimbabwe's.
Number one.
Little
Tony.
Zin nasties. Number one, Dano. It's been too long where Patrick Mahomes has had everything laid out for him. Great receivers, great coaches, always has home field advantage. Everything is great for him. You know what I'm calling for right now? A Patrick Mahomes legacy game. The legacy is on the line right now because you know what? It's negative 30 degrees. Your wide receivers aren't great, even though I like Rice. Travis Kelce may be over the hill, not 100% sure. Matt Nagy for sure sucks. Everything is against you right now, okay? You need to step up and do what you were paid to do, which is win this game in negative 30. This is a Patrick Mahomes legacy game right now. If he doesn't do it now, I don't care about the Super Bowls that he won. He's got to do it right now. Be the quarterback that's the best in the league right now. Negative 30. Throw the cinder block. Make things happen. Run. Score touchdowns. Beat the Dolphins. Then go do it somewhere else. That's what you got to do right now. Patrick Mahomes legacy game.
Those two people that just walked by have to be thinking, what is going on?
They were laughing.
From the take, you mean, right? Not just from the take.
I thought he was setting up to pick the Dolphins there.
So did I. I got up to celebrate it.
That quack thinks this is a legacy game for Mahomes.
Coming from the guy who thought the Egyptians had Wi-Fi, or the ancient Egyptians had Wi-Fi, that's the worst thing you've ever said, Tony.